Hey guys, if you're watching this video, then that means that I've made it home safely to the United States. So, when we left Khamis Mushait, we had to descend down from the high mountains because Abha, Khamis Mushait, those are cities that are at about 2,200 meters in elevation. They're really high up. So, we spent a few hours with our rented driver coming down through the mountains. There are a lot of baboons as well, not seen in this video, but there are probably about 2 dozen red butt monkeys that we saw on the drive down in the first 2 hours or so. And a lot of Saudi Arabia has mountains like this, pretty much just dry, not a lot of vegetation on them. And this is the car that we took. It was a rather long a Nissan like GMC vehicle. And we traveled through a lot of different towns and cities on the way. The whole drive took just under 8 hours. This was an opportunity for me to actually get to see a lot of the country that I never got to see before, because I just really saw Khamis Mushait, Abha, and the area around there. I've been to the Riyadh airport twice, and I've been to Jeddah for one night in the past before this. So it was a good opportunity to see that. Our driver picked up three different guys. First, a group of two guys, a Sudanese fella and I think a Pakistani, and then another Pakistani guy. He didn't tell us we were going to be picking up extra passengers. So my colleague and I, who traveled up to Jeddah, weren't too thrilled with that. But we were paying a good price, and everything seemed to work out pretty well. We did not actually have, at that time, an official Saudi permit from the Saudi travel agency to go between borders. And our driver didn't either. He had what appeared to be some kind of taxi cab driver license and another sort of paper that he showed some of the police checkpoints and cops along the way. There were probably about 5 checkpoints all the way, and most of them were in Abha and Khamis. And I think that was probably because we left before 9 a.m., before the curfew was to start. There was a border crossing when we left Asir province and went to Jeddah, but that was very easy. And this is pretty much what the almost coastal area of Saudi Arabia looks like on the way up to Jeddah. A lot of mounds of packed sand, and then some surprisingly large green bushes. I didn't expect the desert to be so lush with life. It was overcast the whole way, and it got quite hot. After we descended from the high elevation to around 1,000 feet and below, it got really hot, like hotter than 35 Celsius, maybe hit 100 Fahrenheit in the sun. It was the middle of the day as well, and quite dry, as you can imagine. So it was a good opportunity for me to see a lot of the parts of the kingdom that I hadn't seen before. My colleague and I were each paying 1,000 rials. That's about, I don't know, $260. It's actually quite a lot of money. This is outside of a gas station. We stopped twice to get fuel, and it was really, really hot. And back in the car again. I took all these videos in chronological order, so except for that one where I show you the vehicle in the second clip. And this is pretty much what Saudi Arabia is. There were a lot of camels that we passed. This is just one video of seeing a lot of the camels. That was a big heap of them. So you can probably count the camels. That's a fun game, and that would take you to maybe, I don't know, 80 or something. And there's a big crowd of them in the background there too. So I've heard though that Saudi Arabia actually imports a lot of its camels from Australia. There was not a lot of traffic on the road going up to Jeddah. I think that people generally weren't traveling that much because of coronavirus. Some supply trucks, but not a lot of passenger vehicles. This was pretty close to Jeddah. I can't explain it, but it was like a forest of large electrical towers, just like these. I've never seen so many towers so close to each other, so many lines of power. Um, Look at it. It's crazy. This has nothing to do with coronavirus. This is just me being shocked at the electrical infrastructure of some of the busier parts of the kingdom. I don't know where all that was going, coming or going. I'm not sure where it was produced, if it's being pumped out to the desal plants on the west coast, on the Red Sea, or if it was something else, but it was really a sight to behold. So, yep, our driver didn't go really, really fast. We were probably going 160 kilometers. That's like, I don't know, 90 something miles per hour. But we weren't going like, we weren't driving like a Saudi, let's say that. And here are the outskirts of Jeddah and entering Jeddah proper. You can see there's a fair amount of traffic in the city. I ended up getting to the hotel in Jeddah about 15 minutes before 5 o'clock, right before the curfew started. And the driver did seem quite concerned about the curfew time, so I think people were treating it pretty seriously. And here you can see just another view from Jeddah. We had to at some point, actually, our driver left us. He dumped us on some taxi drivers near the center of the city, and the taxi driver had to take us to our hotel that night. So this is what Jeddah looks like. Here are kind of quiet roads. And there, that is, I think they call it colloquially, Corruption Tower. It is a tower in Jeddah that was being built by some oligarch who was doing something illegal, and then the king, or MBS, the crown prince, put him into prison or took his money or something like that. I don't know the whole story. And then we had a drive. This is our drive to the airport that morning. And this is a quick shot of inside and outside the... This is in Jeddah. Yep, Jeddah that morning. There were 2 flights leaving the whole day. And our American flight, I counted, only had 23 passengers on it. Had a capacity of about 500, and we were running at 23 people plus a large staff. This is the plane we took. I took this video from inside that little bus that you sometimes take to get to the terminal. So it was a nice flight. It was about 12 hours. It ran faster than expected. And I tell you, I was very grateful to be able to make it out of the kingdom safely and on time and with all of my stuff. So I consider that very lucky. Probably won't be returning. And I think the travel restrictions to enter the kingdom are going to be a little bit stiffer. And then here I am somewhere over the beautiful clouds over Europe, finally making it on my way home. Hi, so here I am, finally made it back home from Saudi Arabia. And I hope you enjoyed that story about my traveling journey to get back home. And it's time for the last time, the Saudi Arabia coronavirus update. So on May 21st, that is Wednesday, no, it's on Thursday. On Thursday, May 21st, there were 2,532 new cases in Saudi Arabia. They just passed 65,000 total cases, bringing us to 65,077. In the world, we saw an increase of about 99,000 new cases, bringing us just past 5 million confirmed cases. And again, I think there are probably 3, 4, 5 times that many cases that are unconfirmed, the total case number. So I think, honestly, I think the world has over 10 million cases, probably over 20 million, and the virus has really just run away with it. There were 2,562 new recoveries today, so this is another one of those great days where the kingdom sees a decrease in the total confirmed number of active infections of COVID-19 in the country. And there were 12 more deaths, bringing that grisly count to 351. Of these 2,532 new cases, 714 in Riyadh, that's a lot, 390 in Jeddah, 299 in Mecca, 193 in Medina, 144 in Burayda, I don't know how to say it, sorry, I never learned, 141 in Hafuf, 86 in Dammam, 50 in Taif, 7 more in beautiful Khamis Mushait, where I am no longer, and 4 more cases in Abha. There are lots and lots of towns and cities I didn't bother to mention, but that also had new cases. So I think I'm gonna sneeze in a second. So sorry about that. Just two quick news stories, and then my final thoughts, and then you can finally unsubscribe to this channel if you're just here for my coronavirus updates. There's going to be no curfew and no lockdown in Bahrain during Eid al-Fitr, which is the end of Ramadan, begins on May 23rd in a few days. Ramadan's coming to an end. And in Saudi Arabia, from May 23rd to May 27th, 5 days is 24-hour lockdown. And I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I'm glad I made it back out of there before I had to deal with locking myself inside for 5 days again. It is not, I understand why it's stressful. It's not a walk in the park. But when you're surrounded by as much greenery as I am, then it's a lot easier to self-isolate outside on the grass, in the shade, than it is in a small apartment in a relatively small Saudi Arabian city. And last story is, I found this out on my way to Jeddah, that Saudi Airlines, the national airline of Saudi Arabia, which is also running, as far as I know, all the evacuation and repatriation flights to and from the kingdom, on June 1st, they're going to, they say, reopen domestic flights. So flights within the kingdom would be available again. And they said that they would, tentatively anyway, reopen international flights on September 1st. So some of my colleagues, they didn't want to take these evacuation flights because they thought that they were going to be able to buy a $600 flight instead of a $1,800 flight. They thought flights were going to reopen any day now, and next week I'll be able to buy a Flynas or Turkish Airlines ticket back home. Nope, I think that's still not the case. And you know what I really think, where I think we're going with COVID-19 is that this virus is going to be around for at least 3 years. A vaccine, I do think we're going to get a vaccine at the end, but it could be a while. And honestly, I think that eventually we'll just sort of learn to live with the coronavirus in the background, and we'll start taking more health risks, and generally society will return to how it used to be, except that everybody will be wearing masks, everybody's going to wash their hands a lot more, and people are going to be generally a little bit more paranoid, and all the emotions that we've been feeling, you and I and everyone else, in the last few weeks or months. So anyway, if you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll answer them in the comments, maybe. I won't be answering them in future videos because this is the last time I will provide you with a Saudi Arabia coronavirus update. So don't forget to like this video, and if you did subscribe just to watch these videos, let me do you a favor, and you can unsubscribe if you want. There will not be any more Saudi Arabia coronavirus updates. Thank you all for watching all the videos that I put up, or however many that you did. I doubt many of you watched all of them. So thanks for watching, everybody, and stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, stay responsible, and stay cool.